Hello and welcome to Big Boy Bigger Dreams with me, Eden Luxon. I am the big boy with the bigger dreams. This is episode 52. Can you believe it? See, if I'd have kept to my original schedule of doing one a week, then actually I'd have only done a year now. But as it stands, I started this podcast nearly 4 years ago. So apologies for being terrible at keeping the schedule, but there you go. I like to give names to these episodes. Today's episode is called Patience, I guess. And that's the title, Patience, I guess. Because patience is hard to come by. And I struggle. I struggle a lot with patience. I struggle a lot with it. And it's just something I thought would be quite interesting to talk about today. But yes, thank you for tuning in. I'm coming to you today from my parents' house in Stoke-on-Trent. Big up Stoke-on-Trent. I was playing on a show in Manchester last week and I was staying with them, and then I've got a meeting on Monday up here, so I thought I'd stay the weekend as well. Like, it's nice to be home, you know, because it doesn't happen super often, and it just is just nice to be back, you know, it's not even my childhood bed though, this is just, I'm in the bedroom of my childhood home. And this bed is not actually my childhood bed. I think they got this after I moved out. Anyway, so like I do with most of these episodes, I like to do a mental health check. So let's do one of those now. So this week's mental health check, I want you to imagine that you can hear a scratching noise from behind a wall, but you don't know which wall, and every time you go to a wall to like check it, it's not there. It's definitely behind a different wall, and you cannot find where that scratch is coming from. And it's very, very irritating and unsettling, and you're just kind of confused and just sort of like overwhelmed by the whole situation. That's kind of how I feel, to be honest. I feel overwhelmed and weirdly sort of out of place. I don't know. Yeah, it's just I think there's a few things that I'm going to get into with the episode. But yeah, a scratching from an unknown source. And I don't mean carbonara. So there's that. That joke is hiding quite a tremendous amount of inner emotional, not turmoil, but certainly discomfort. So there you go. Welcome to the podcast, guys. Put the helmets on. It doesn't slow down from here. What am I doing? Let's start journaling together, shall we? So I want to put something in this section here where I like to do a journal, you know, of what I've been up to. And I want to start off by talking about my grandfather's funeral, which I didn't talk about last episode. And I think the reason I didn't talk about it is because I think I was trying to put it off the back of my mind and not really think about it. And I was also having such a wonderful time on Panto. I was kind of just focused on that and not really focused on the whole attending my grandfather's funeral. So my granddad's funeral was on the 7th or 8th of December. I can't remember exactly which one. And yeah, it was a shit day, obviously. It's my grandfather's funeral. My grandfather was diagnosed with dementia in 2019, although I think we're all pretty sure, including my mother, who is a dementia care specialist, we're all pretty confident that he had it for a lot longer before then. So, yeah, it's quite a difficult thing to work with, dementia, because, you know, it leaves the body kind of well, and it's just the mind that goes. And so I have not really had a granddad for 4 or 5 years. Like, he, you know, especially when he moved into a home in, I want to say 2022 or 2023, he didn't really recognize me anymore, and he became non-verbal, basically, and he became like a child. We'd go and visit him, and he'd have this little book with like little felt things and zips and like you know, flaps and stuff, and it was just like watching him play with that, and it's like that's not my granddad. And I went to see him a few days before he died. I went to see him with my mum, and it was hard because they were trying to feed him, and he just wasn't eating, like water food basically, and he just wasn't keeping it in. It was just dribbling out of his mouth again, and they just lay him down in bed, and he was just lay there, just this sort of husk of a man who was my granddad. And yeah, it's just really it's really tough to see that. It's really difficult, and I really feel for my mum, because my mum is obviously her dad, and also she's had to deal with dementia patients all of her working adult life, and now she's then had to witness it in her own life as well. That must be quite hard. I mean, it kind of prepares you in one way, but I think in another way it kind of doesn't prepare you for the emotional toll. And, you know, my nan's doing okay. I think the funeral made it all a bit real for her. And you've also got to remember my nan, who I refer to as Mama, my Mama, she is of an era. I mean, she was born in 1939. She's from an era where the husband does everything, and she stays at home and looks after the kids and looks after the house. And you sort of get the sense that she's kind of like unsure of what to do with herself now that she doesn't have that sort of anchor in her life. But she loves going out still. I mean, my mum took her shopping yesterday, and you know, she loves getting out and about. She loves it. But it has been really hard, and the funeral was nice. It was lovely. It was nice to see some family I'd not seen in a while, and a couple of family friends that were there. It's funny, there was a couple of family friends there who I recognised and knew and felt closer to than a lot of my sort of extended family. And it just kind of reminded me of the power of like found family. And also it just kind of made me realise how little I kind of know a lot of my extended family, which kind of made me sad. But it was really lovely. And I gave a little speech, and the speech was sort of basically, well, my granddad was really into quizzes. He loved them, and he used to love doing the crossword. He loves his quizzes. So he, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a quiz for my granddad. And it was only 3 questions long. And, you know, I had a bit leading into the quiz where I sort of said, you know, about what granddad meant to me and how I remember him and how I want to remember him and the things that I get from him. And one of the big things is I love quizzing. I love playing Trivial Pursuit. I always have like Trivial Pursuit cards, like the little question cards on me, and I love just asking them to my friends and getting them to ask me. And it's something I definitely get from my granddad. I love doing the New York Times games, you know, the Wordle, the Spelling Bee, the Mini, now Crossplay, which is basically just Scrabble. Love it. So yeah, I think that's what I get from him. And then I went into the quiz, and each answer to the quiz sort of led into like a story about granddad, and I was quite happy with it. I was quite happy with how it went. My uncle sort of gave like a dry sort of like play-by-play of my granddad's life. So I went up there with this, but I got a couple of laughs. Who cares, Eden? But it was just like it just felt like a much more sort of human way to remember my granddad, you know? Because I kind of hate it when funerals are just like, this person died and now we're sad. It's like, yeah, this person, who was that person? And it's like, that person was my granddad. And he was great. He was ace. He was a wonderful granddad. And I really, really hope he'd be proud of me. Because, you know, when we were kids, he would take us to go see theatre things, and he loved music and theatre, and he got me into jazz when I was a kid. And yeah, it's I feel very lucky to have known him, and yeah, I felt very lucky to be able to pay homage to him at his funeral. It's funny though, because after literally as straight as the funeral finished, I had to head up to York because I had the press night for this panto. So it's quite a gear shift, really, going from like my granddad's funeral to drinking and laughing with Rachel Grundy and Lisa George and Tobias Turley on a panto. So yeah, odd day. That one of the weirder Tuesdays I've ever had, for sure. But I also have been given, so Mama has asked me to have his signet ring. So we had a signet ring made that has his initials on, R&B. And I always feel really weird about signet rings. Whenever I see people wear them, I always think, did your like great granddad own people? Is that why you've got a signet ring? Are you a big old posho? And I'm not a posho. I mean, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to the way I'm talking to you. I'm not a posho. But maybe I am, because apparently he nearly joined the Masons at one point. Like, I don't know. This is so funny that like my granddad, whose dad was a miner, he used to tell me stories of his dad coming home from work just covered, head to toe black with soot, and like having to get like hosed down by his mum, and scrubbed clean every night. And then he's out getting signet rings pressed and like joining the Masons. How's that work? So yeah, I might. It's also a bit too big for my little finger and then way too small for my other fingers. So I might put it on a chain and wear it as a necklace every now and again, or just sort of keep it somewhere safe. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. But yeah. Speaking of panto, though, end of panto. Panto finished. We finished on the first Sunday after New Year's, and yeah, it was. I loved pantomime. It was brilliant. I will do it again in a heartbeat if they ask me back next year, which they kind of tentatively have. I really, really, really love it. I love the atmosphere, the vibe, and the joy and the camaraderie. They had this huge game of traitors that I enjoyed participating in. The show was fun to play. I got to play drums every day, for money. And yeah, it also feels like a one professional step closer to being on the shows that I want to be on, musical theatre shows and whatever. So it does feel like a step towards that, which is really, really cool and makes me feel really, really hopeful of the future. So yeah, that's kind of cool. That makes me really happy. But it is like a return to normalcy, and returning back to teaching was a bit like a grind. It's like, oh God, I've got to do this. I've got to get up at 6:30 in the morning and, get on a bus at 7:10 and, start teaching at 9:10. Have to schlep to literally the other side of London. Just to do some teaching. It's just a bit mad, really. So yeah, that return to normalcy has been a bit weird. It's been nice to be back in London, though, to be fair, actually. And it's been nice because I'm able to see Maria more, and I'm able to see my friends again, and yeah, that makes me happy. But in terms of, I do miss being on a show, and I'm manifesting so hard to get put on some shows. I even redid my CV today, and it turns out, so the show that I was on this week, which was Songs for a New World at the Arden School of Theatre, turns out that's my 50th ever show. And I mean, like, as in like musical theatre show. That includes like a concert and a workshop that I did, which was a sharing concert workshop, to be fair. And these are all ones I've been paid for. So 50 shows since 2016, which is a fair amount. It doesn't sound like a lot when I say it, but it is really, isn't it? And I've already got shows booked in for this year. I'm already playing on a production of Little Shop of Horrors at a high school in a couple of weeks. I'm playing on a production of Next to Normal and Footloose and We Will Rock You and On the Town and Catch Me If You Can. So already got quite a lot of stuff booked in. It just would be nice if some of it was more professional you know, professional productions, and I'd love to be on a tour. I'd love to do something in the West End. These are my dreams, and it takes a bit of patience, I guess. See what I did there? That's the name of the episode. He did the thing. And I did a really cool thing. So I've seen a couple of things. I saw Pierre Novelli, the comedian, the other day. I saw The Producers the other day, which was amazing. I love The Producers, the musical. It's maybe I don't know if it's my favourite musical, but it's definitely up there. It would be on my Mount Rushmore of musicals. And especially because it's like one that I share very deep associations with my best friend Giles. Because he and I just found the show together and just devoured it. And we watched the film a billion times. We went to go see the tour in like 2015 with Jason Manford. We saw it twice, once in Manchester and once in Liverpool. And we went to go see it at the whatever theatre it is, where Bonnie and Clyde was. What is the theatre called? I can't remember. The one like near Trafalgar Square. And it was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it. With Andy Nyman as Max Bialystock. I thought the energy in the performances were quite different from the film and quite different from the original musical, and I think that they didn't do better than. I thought the guy playing Franz Liebkind was fantastic. I actually think he was a standout performance, and I really, really loved him. And I thought he was just giving this energy, this chaos, manic energy that was just perfect. Whereas I think some of the other performances were a bit more grounded, and it was a bit like, no, this is a farce. This is a big, silly, stupid farce. You need to play it up. Because Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick played it up, let's face it, and they were perfect. They were absolutely perfect. So yeah, it was really, really fun. Really, really enjoyed it. I went to see it with Giles and Maria, and it was gorgeous. But there was still a bit of like, yeah, but I know how Nathan Lane does it. That was better, So I also did a very cool thing where Giles and Maria also came to this, and Giles played, along with my friend Joe McWilliam, a song from my upcoming song cycle, Songs from the Edge of the Void. They sang a song called Nothing, which is about being asked for no contact after a breakup. And Joe and Giles went up and played it at this open mic night that was for members only, members of the Mercury musical development sort of community. And it was at the Other Palace, which is really, really cool. So I've had a piece played at the Other Palace, which is very, very cool. That's really, really exciting. And that same piece is going to be played at the Etc. Theatre in Camden on the 15th of February. The 15th, Sunday the 15th of February. I have my piece, Nothing, is being performed at the Etc. Theatre in Camden. Please come along if you can. Tickets are £13, I believe. But yeah, come and support new musical theatre writing and come and have a great evening of new music. It should be really, really cool. That's everything I want to catch you up on. Let's chat about today's topic. Today's topic is, well, I don't really know. I guess patience. Patience, I guess. I don't know what to talk about. I'm feeling quite overwhelmed at the minute. I'm exhausted, and I am having feelings coming back up again. The feeling of it's not quite heavy. It's going to sound heavy when I say it. The feeling of self-loathing or self-hatred. I don't love myself right now. I feel unsuccessful. I feel as though I'm not doing as much as I could. I'm feeling overwhelmed by a lot of like life admin and finances. I am feeling very fat and out of shape, overweight, and it's just hard. It's really, really difficult, and I'm really, really struggling with it, and I'm trying my hardest to keep myself together, and I'm trying really hard to press on through. And I'm really glad that I'm recording this podcast today, because I'm so scared of just letting this lapse and never doing it again. And I really, really enjoy doing it. And I know only like 5 people ever listen to this thing, or watch this thing, but it's kind of worth it for those people, really. And I really hope the people who are listening, who I know always listen, I hope that when you hear me say I hate myself, it's kind of like not a massive feeling. It's just more like a sort of low level feeling, and it's kind of like I've got these 2 feelings that always come out. The first is whenever someone pays me a compliment, I always think to myself, oh, it's so nice of them to lie about me like that. That's so nice. How kind of them to lie, which is kind of an interesting way to look at that, isn't it? It's like, it's never like, oh, what a lovely compliment, I feel good about myself. It's like oh, it's nice that they care enough about me to lie. That's nice. And then the other feeling is just this feeling of like, I wake up upset with myself. I wake up hating myself. And if I have a good day and do all the things I set out to do, and am productive and have fun and laugh and speak to people and have a great day, I might end up either at the same level or up to neutral about myself. And if I have a bad day, or things go wrong, or I eat too much, or I don't do any work, or I let something slide, or I'm mean to someone, or it just gets worse and worse and worse. This isn't always true. Like, a lot of the time I found myself being really, really happy with myself and really, really excited about life. Like, that is something I am definitely capable of and love doing, but I do find myself quite often just at this sort of level of like under the bar, and it's really easy to dip even further below, and it's really hard to get it up to above neutral. And I have this like creeping feeling that maybe not everyone feels like that. Like, maybe not everyone hates themselves, because I just sort of assumed we all did, and that's just kind of how we all were. I just assumed everyone hates themselves and is just doing their best to kind of ignore that feeling. Maybe that is true, but I'm kind of starting to think maybe it's not, and maybe I'm just a bit broken, and that's kind of scary. I'm aware of it, and I'm aware also of how many people that love me, and how many friends I have, and what a supporting, loving family I have, and I'm blessed in so many ways. But it's just that feeling that I can't shake sometimes of maybe I am bad and I'll never feel great. But then I also know that I'm currently in a dip, and I know that I've had podcasts where I've come on and talked about how great everything is, and I know that it does get better, because it has got better before. And, I'm still going to therapy, and I've still got the love and support of like Maria and my friends and my family. Just sometimes it's just a lot. And I think it's a lot when I've got so much on, but all of it feels insubstantial. So, insubstantial? Oh, who cares? It sometimes feels like, oh, I've got teaching on, and an Amdram, and I've got to be writing this piece for a string quartet, and maybe I'll do these arrangements for some people. And it's like, I'm doing lots of bitty things, and it's like, yeah, but all of this adds up to me still being poor, and me still being in the same place I always was, and I just need something to break, something to let the water in, something to open the door, and for it to just open up to a beautiful plain. And that's how it felt going on to Panto for a very long time. It felt like, I did all these things, and now I'm open, I'm good. And now we're back in January, and like, it's just about to be February. I mean, I'm a few hours away from February, and it just feels like, back to trudging through the mud. And that doesn't excite me very much. That fills me with dread, really. But I'm going to take that as a challenge to myself to not even work harder or push through or any of those things, but to just realize that I'm on the path, realize that I know that things get better, realize that I'm having a fun time, living in London, being a professional musician. Sure, there's loads of stresses that come with it, but the highs that come with it are also amazing. And I don't know, have patience, I guess. Maybe. Speaking of, I have a poem for you. So this poem is called Patience, and I wrote it today, and it's about having some patience. So here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Seeds will sprout and scorn the soil as wood rises towards Olympus. Rain will fall into the sea before returning to a nimbus. Encased in earth now, you are soon to rise. Falling from a height, you are bound for the skies. Patience is not kind. Patience is relentless. Patience is a climb. Patience leaves you restless. But like the acorn, you are bound by fate. I promise that an oak tree is well worth the wait. Let's do the top 4, shall we? Okay, so today's top 4, which is, like my Mount Rushmore, my Letterboxd, I am going to be looking at a very niche category, which is like sad and chill kind of albums that I think are really, really good when you're feeling sad and like you're feeling not necessarily ennui, but you're feeling that kind of like listlessness, and you just kind of want to sit and be enveloped by music, just to sort of not even necessarily bring you out of it, but to just really soundtrack your life. And in my head, like the soundtrack to Her or something, which I think Arcade Fire did the soundtrack to that film. I'm not sure, can't remember, but yeah, like that. There's that kind of sad and chill, mainly chill and meditative, but also kind of like sad, melancholic, chill and melancholic, melanCHILlic albums. So these are my top 4 melanCHILlic albums. To start with, a composer from Iceland, Jóhann Jóhannsson, who unfortunately died in 2017, I think 2018. Jóhann Jóhannsson, and he was a fantastic composer. He composed one of my favourite film scores ever, the film score to Arrival. In fact, he did all the scores for Denis Villeneuve's films until he passed away. And so he would have done Blade Runner 2049. In fact, I think he was actually booked to do it, but then died. And I'm really interested to see what his Dune score would have been. But he released an album a few years ago called Orphée, Orphee, and it is gorgeous. It includes a piece of music that became quite famous called Flight from the City, and it's just a really beautiful meditative album, this sort of ambient minimalist, and it feels really profound and gorgeous when you listen to it, especially Flight from the City. It's such a gorgeous piece of music. It's all so gorgeous. Then I also want to put in here Hiroshi Yoshimura's Music for 9 Postcards. So Hiroshi Yoshimura was a composer, a Japanese sort of like environmental composer. He used to give lectures, I think, on like how to engage the public with like museums and how to get the public involved, and he was very much into the idea of like music of the environment, but then also was like a electronic musician, so he created a lot of electronic pieces and synthesized music using all these machines, but then also combining it with like environmental sounds and just creating these sort of like soundscapes that were so gorgeous. And I've only very recently come across Hiroshi Yoshimura, but I really love his album Music for 9 Postcards, because not only is it sort of gorgeous and ethereal and really sets this sort of like tone, this space, but it's also quite playful at times. Like the third track, Blink, which is just really, really playful and kind of fun. And it's like not just sad boy, electronic sad boy anthems. It's like actually like beautiful art, and it's so good. Really, really wonderful. Really, really recommend. I'm also going to put Sigur Ros's Tack, or Thank You, in here. Sigur Ros's Tack, which contains the, one of the greatest tracks of all time, Hoppy Poller, is just a wonderful album. I really love Sigur Ros's use of this. I can't remember what they call the language, but they sort of have this fake language that they use, which isn't Icelandic. Oh, funny, another Icelandic. Oh, I guess the Icelanders are really, really good at making sad and chill music. Which is kind of funny because I've played some Icelandic music. And to be fair, Anna Thorvaldsdottir's music's all sort of quite sad and chill as well. Anyway, it must be just because of how cold and dark it is there all the time. But Sigur Rós, they have this sort of fake language that sort of sounds like Icelandic, but then also sounds kind of English at times. And it's just this beautiful nonsense world that just fills you with like kind of hope, but then it also feels melancholic. It feels like a hope that's tinged with that sadness, which is a beautiful feeling to convey. And Hoppy Poller, that tune, really, really conveys that, I think. Now, the fourth album is actually a set of albums, but the first one is worth listening to. And it's The Caretakers' Everywhere at the End of Time. And there's stage 1 through 6, I believe. So 6 different albums. But the first album has got A and B on it. And basically, it's a load of sampled ballroom tracks from the 20s and 30s that he's slowly sort of degrading over the course of the albums. And over the course of the first album, you can hear it degrade. And it's meant to emulate the stages of dementia. And really apt that it's 20s and 30s ballroom music, which is kind of perfect, really. It's just a really, really beautiful listen. And really sort of like ambient, chill, but profoundly sort of sad, and just really, really gorgeous. The Caretaker's real name, James Leyland Kirby. Just a really beautiful space to enter, and really haunting. There's some melanCHILlic albums for you. My top 4 melanCHILlic albums. Go listen to them. And if you have any ideas for melanCHILlic albums, comment them, please, under this YouTube video. Or I don't know what you could do on like Apple Podcasts, but maybe if I clip this, maybe comment in the Instagram clips or whatever, or the TikTok clips. I don't know. Do whatever you want, man. But like, I'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. And I will endeavour to get the next one to you less than 3 weeks away, but more than 1 week away. Yeah. I'll find a good balance. And the Etc. Theatre, Sunday the 15th of February, if you've got £13 to spare and you want to come and see a piece of music I wrote being sung by one of my friends and played on the piano by one of my other friends, please come along. Oh wait, Giles isn't playing on that one. Hey Giles, if you're listening to this, do you want to come and watch? That'd be really sick if you would. The MD for the Eclipse Collective is playing on it. But my friend Joe William will be singing it, so come along. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again soon. Peace. Oh, I hope you liked the new angle, by the way, YouTube viewers. It's quite like a cool angle, I think, isn't it? Bye.